Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the little bell on side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insight. Now today's video is all about updating news. So obviously over the weekend you must have heard the Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison, has called for the general election dated on the 21st of May 2022. So obviously the two major parties are out there campaigning about their policies. Now I don't know which party is gonna win, but you probably can make a best bet. However, as for the immigration policy due to pandemic of the last 24 months, I believe that whatever is going to come out, whichever the party is going to hold and win the elections, the immigration policy will still continue to be an open. Now anyway, let's have a look at some news and what's coming up over the weekend and also last Friday as well, because I was away. Didn't catch up with it enough time to actually get this video on. So let's get some review on what had been happened over the weekend. So this news actually came out, I think just right before the election. So Labour Party is accusing the Liberal Party of using migrants as guest workers. Now what does that mean? A guest worker obviously means that you come out and you work and you never get a residency. After you work, you return back home as a guest, which is not really, well, for migrants, it's not really pleasant and friendly. However, there's obviously integrity you need to check, and also the selections that the government of Australia wish the migrant to stay. So the news is it's basically, again, it's called out by the Labour Party spokesman Christina Kennelly, has unveiled its party's intention to overhaul Australian reliance on the short-term temporary visa. Now I thought this one was debated over the parliamentary committee early last year, where they will combine the short-term and medium long-term, which they already done for people who are actually stay in Australia during the pandemic. Now the opposition party, Labour Party, is calling out the idea to permanently, perhaps as what I have been talking about over my channel, to make the TSS, the temporary, the skilled worker visa, back to where it was under subclass 457. So this is where I'm talking about, where they're trying to make it so hard and no one can do it, and they shift it back to where it originally was. Such a waste of time, waste of resources, but anyway, it's politics. We still need to follow what the politics are actually directing us to go. So detailed specific policies procedure are scarce, but the party outlined it wants to make it easier for foreign workers to become permanent residents. So what does that mean? Make it easier for the foreign workers to become permanent resident. That's basically what the 457 scheme used to be back about 5-7 years ago. So how will that go? We don't know. Let's see if Labour can actually win the elections. Immigration Minister Alex Hawke accused Labour of failing to provide any detail. I believe that the Liberal Party, Alex Hawke, also have some plan in hand, as I've already been telling everybody in regards to how they're going to make it. So currently they are shifting the short term for those one who actually stay in Australia during the pandemic, but what's gonna happen, we don't know yet. And see how that goes. This is how they're talking between the two sides, which I'm not gonna go into those details how they can fight each other. But anyway, a day later, another news came out. Labour vows to stop Australia from becoming guest worker house. Labour will make immigration reform key plan in the election policy, vowing to end nation's dependency on short-term visa holders. Well, is Australia actually rely and depend on the short-term workers? Well, we can debate around that. I would say probably not. But making immigrant to migrate to permanently easier, obviously, it's the key. It's a pathway that the both party is seeking for. It's just twisting between different policies. Now, Labor is using the skilled workers, the foreign employees, as a way to campaign their elections. However, the Liberal is using the skill migration, whereby giving more quotas, as you can see, just right before elections, to the skilled migrants for the new financial year. So it's a different approaches, but as you can see, both party is looking to open up the migration policies to make it easier for migrants to stay permanently. So anyway, it's the same story, just two different news media came out, and again, there's a lot of back and forth between the two parties talking about this. With a Liberal-dominated Parliament committee last year recommended government provide pathway with permanent residency for all migrants and employer-sponsored visa have competent English language at the age under 45. So again, see, the Liberal is still they are paving the way for more migrants as well. Obviously, under the previous budget, 2022 and 23, also paved the way for next financial year for more annual intake as well. So here, I think this is more political talk, but easing the migration criteria obviously is welcome. You know, I'm in the migration industry. I'm welcoming this as well. Okay, now let's go back to the budget 2022 and 23, where the Minister of Alex Hawke, Immigration Minister, had actually provided more detail. Now, let's move this. There's a Ukraine visa support. So this web page, you can actually search it if you wanted to search skill visa newsletter March 2022, which gives out all the skill migrations detail after the budget 2022 and 23. Okay, so administration of the immigration citizenship. So what they're going to help is the external stakeholder understand how department administer the program. It complements the existing policies, regularly published data, blah blah blah. So obviously they looks like they're going to put more human resources to immigration sector, because obviously during the past 24 months, the immigration has actually, due to the border restrictions and closure, there's not much of moving, but now they're looking to get all these backlog resolved. So reopening of international travels, I'm not gonna repeat this. So obviously it's open, you can go there, you make sure you are fully vaccinated. I think this will be somehow will be removed very soon, because as you notice, you're not required to do PCR, you're not required to do RAT anymore. Why bother fully vaccinated? Because fully vaccinated, you still get contracted with COVID if you don't do RAT. And if you're on board with the virus with you, you know, anyway. So I think this will be gone anyway, somehow. Okay, now global talent. Streamline process. Migration can help us streamline EOI assessment, providing documents to the mailboxes, providing new evidence, clear labeling document, listing clients' passport number and BCC number, minimize inquiry on global talent mailboxes, invitation reminder, limited places are so if you get invited, make sure you submitted your visa as soon as possible. Do not use the departmental logos. So what this is actually telling us is that obviously you notice that the global talents quota has been almost halved. Now I'm pretty welcome with that one, because there has been a lot of junk EOI being submitted. So they want the migration agents or consultant or specialist to actually provide a more what I call decision ready. I think I've done this video last year. Your EOI and your supporting evidence has to be decision ready, meaning that everything's being provided. So once there's a case officer looking into your file, they can make decisions straight away from your submission and your evidence to provide documents. So they want to see those kind of things. If it's not ready, Perhaps you didn't attach your passport, you don't have your qualification, you don't have your work experience, you don't have any of those third-party references to your skill or whatever you claim for international recognized achievements, then obviously they will not be interested to actually look into the file. So that's basically what they wanted to say. Now, the 40A for the pandemic visa, it's still there. So announce a change of 40A. So as long as you got work, you can actually get up to 12 months of visa to assist the recovery of the pandemic economy hit by the pandemic. So this is still out there. You can utilize that. So if you are in Australia, you got a job offer, and the evidence of support you're required to provide is job offer, contract, or pay slips to show that you actually got work and job there. Okay, now the BIP, the Business Innovation Investment Program, uploading. Now it's all finally the investment visa is now electronically accepted. Now, since July last year, prior July 2021, all of these business innovation and investment visa are required to post all the certified original or color copies of documents to departmental offices. Now, there's no more requirement. You're now uploading stuff, so it's make it more efficient. I think that's a better way to go. Although they are reducing the numbers of quota for 2022 and 23, I think it's reasonable because there has been just so many investors not gonna be come out from China anymore because they are local state ban of money transfer and things like that. So there's a huge quota of Chinese investors will not be landing or arriving or traveling into Australia anymore, or perhaps any other country as well. Request extension, there's a way to go because of the COVID. These requests are considered local procedures, but if it's going to be electronic submissions, you're not required to extend it anymore. So make sure it's all decision ready, so it's all good. They're still prioritizing for Hong Kong citizens as well, but they're impacted by COVID. I don't know when that's going to be resolved. Since has been more than 8,000 deaths over in Hong Kong. God bless Hong Kong. And employer sponsored visa program. So labor market testing, that's the part I really think required to be removed. Anyway, I've done a specific video on LMT if you wanted to follow that one. So that basically government is saying, look, make sure you get that done. Well, yeah, because this is really time consuming and resource wasteful. Especially for employer in regional areas. I mean, if they're in regional, obviously there's a skill shortage. Why would they need to demonstrate labor market testing again? Anyway, I think this will only apply for employers who are in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and those urban cities. But in regional, forget about it. But anyway, until the next policy changes. Visa processing time, the priority migration skill occupation list will still be there. Because pandemic is not officially ended yet. Today's news, just there's chaos in Sydney airport because of lack of human resources or people being contracted with COVID. So there's still problem out there. Delay on onshore health examination, yes, it's still there. It's lack of human resources as well. Labor market testing, priority processing request. Please note that request or priority processing of TSS application employer sponsor mail will not receive response, nor will be actions. So anyway, they just saying, look, stop sending us messages and complaints because we're not gonna do anything about it. Anyway, okay, let's move on. So there's a lot more about the TSS. So what's this one? Short-term. Yeah, this is about the short-term list that allow those people who actually stay in Australia during pandemic and in a short-term list occupations, you're able to actually submit 186 to become a permanent resident. Now it's not fair because, isn't it? Because on March 20th, the Prime Minister asked everybody to leave. So those people who left, they lost out the opportunities, which is not fair. You told us to leave. Now those people who did not leave, did not follow Prime Minister's instructions, they actually got priority. Don't know. I don't know. Well, perhaps you leave a comment right down below what you think. Okay, there's a lot more labor agreement because they want to help more about the designated regional areas and see how that go. I think this is gonna be very hard because unless the state government step in to help, just like how the South Australian government had done it. But for those like far north Queensland, Western Australia, those really tiny regions, look, you're not going to attract anyone. You're probably utilizing Dharma to actually just to sponsor your current staff. Anyway, see how that go. I'm not going to comment too much about meat industry. You may want to read them by yourself. So again, that's Dharma's thing that I just talked about. Now, general skill migration. Okay. Not much about talking general skill migration, but talking about spousals, de facto relationships. So has there been any changes? I don't think so, but it's just the evidence of support required to be more scrutinized. So whether you're going to be single, engaged, married, or de facto, GSM visa applicant marital status would sometimes change between lodging EOI and lodging, and while they're making the decision. Why? Because the government allows the visa application process to be delayed for almost a year. Obviously, people get married and get into engagements and getting into relationship during that year. Anyway, it's a mess, but you just need to meet that requirement. But again, the law says you wanted to get those points. It has to be at the time of invitation. So if you already submit your application, means you already passed the invitation. So anyway, if you get married later on, it doesn't count anyway. Anyway, that's for the updates of Australian visa news. If you have more questions, comments, or queries, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. I'll see you next video. Goodbye.